Late afternoon settles across the dry savanna of southern Africa. The long grasses ripple in slow waves beneath a warm, restless wind. It is the final stretch of the dry season, when the land carries the weight of months without rain. The soil is pale and cracked in places, and the scent of dust lingers in the air. Acacia trees stand scattered across the horizon, their shadows stretching thin and fragile over the ground. Small movements define the landscape. A flock of Kalia birds erupts suddenly from the grass, twisting in a tight formation before disappearing toward a distant waterhole. Somewhere farther away, the faint alarm call of Franklin echoes briefly and then fades back into silence. Near the edge of a shallow termite mound, something moves. A honey badger pushes forward through the grass, low to the ground, its muscular body swaying with steady determination. Its black coat and pale mantle are streaked with dry soil. The animal pauses, nose lifted, testing the air. Honey badgers travel with relentless purpose, guided by scent and opportunity. Just beyond the mound, hidden in a narrow pocket of grass, 3 small serval kittens lie pressed close together. And nearby, watching every movement in the grass, their mother waits. The savanna holds its breath in quiet tension. Across the open grasslands and scattered woodlands of sub-Saharan Africa, life unfolds through a network of quiet rivalries and overlapping territories. Predators and scavengers move across the same ground, each guided by instinct, opportunity, and the constant arithmetic of risk. Among these animals, few possess a reputation as formidable as the honey badger Mellivora capensis. Despite weighing only between 9 and 16 kilograms, the honey badger occupies an unusual position within the African carnivore community. Its build is compact but extremely powerful, with thick forelimbs and long curved claws designed for digging. Studies of skeletal structure show that the muscles controlling the forelimbs and shoulders are unusually developed for an animal of its size, allowing it to excavate termite mounds, tear apart burrows, and break into underground nests in a matter of minutes. Its skin provides another evolutionary advantage. Loose, thick, and remarkably tough, the honey badger's hide allows it to twist within the grip of a predator or opponent. Researchers observing defensive encounters have documented honey badgers rotating almost completely within their skin when seized, enabling them to turn and bite even while restrained. This trait, combined with surprisingly high tolerance for venom, particularly from snakes, has contributed to the animal's reputation for fearlessness. But the honey badger is not a reckless fighter. Field observations across regions, such as the Kalahari and the Serengeti, indicate that the species relies primarily on opportunistic feeding rather than confrontation. Its diet is one of the most varied among African carnivores. It includes rodents, reptiles, bird eggs, insects, amphibians, small antelope young, and even carrion. In many cases, honey badgers function as both predator and scavenger, exploiting food sources that other animals overlook. Their hunting method reflects this flexibility. Unlike pursuit predators that rely on speed or endurance, honey badgers depend heavily on scent and persistence. Moving slowly through grasslands, they sweep the ground with their noses, detecting burrows hidden beneath soil or vegetation. Once a scent is located, digging begins immediately. Their claws can carve through packed earth with remarkable speed, and prey hiding underground rarely escapes. Yet this strategy often brings a honey badger into contact with animals that are not prey at all. Burrows across the African savanna serve many species. Warthogs abandon tunnels that are later occupied by porcupines. Aardvark excavations become shelter for jackals, mongooses, and snakes. In the dense grass, nests lie hidden only centimeters below the soil surface. The honey badger, following scent trails, cannot always distinguish what waits inside. This is where risk enters the equation. Among the animals that share these landscapes is the serval, Leptolura serval, a medium-sized wild cat built almost entirely for hunting in tall grass. With its slender frame, extremely long legs, and oversized ears, the serval occupies a different ecological niche from the honey badger. Where the badger digs, the serval listens. Its ears, among the largest relative to body size of any cat, can detect the faint movement of rodents beneath vegetation. Studies conducted in East African savannas show that servals rely heavily on sound to locate prey. Once a target is detected, the cat performs a precise vertical leap, striking downward with forepaws to pin the animal before delivering a bite to the neck or skull. This hunting technique is remarkably effective. Servals are estimated to succeed in roughly half of their hunting attempts, a rate far higher than that of most large predators. Normally, the lives of these two animals pass without conflict. Honey badgers move primarily in search of burrowing prey, while servals focus on small mammals in open grass. Their diets overlap only slightly, and their encounters are typically brief and cautious. A serval, lighter and built for speed rather than strength, generally avoids confrontation with more robust carnivores. But circumstances change during the breeding season. Serval mothers raise their kittens alone, without assistance from males. After a gestation period of roughly 70 to 75 days, a female gives birth to 2 or 3 kittens inside a hidden den. These dens are rarely constructed by the serval itself. Instead, the mother selects abandoned burrows, often those originally dug by aardvarks or warthogs, where the kittens remain concealed for the first weeks of life. During this period, the serval mother becomes intensely protective. Field observations show that females repeatedly relocate their kittens between dens to avoid detection by predators, such as jackals, hyenas, and large birds of prey. The kittens are vulnerable, blind at birth, and completely dependent on the mother for warmth and food. For several weeks, they cannot flee danger on their own. This vulnerability creates one of the most dangerous moments in a serval's life, because burrows that provide safety for kittens also attract animals that search for underground prey. Animals like the honey badger. In the layered structure of the African savanna ecosystem, survival often depends less on strength than on specialization. Each predator occupies a narrow ecological role shaped by millions of years of evolutionary pressure. The honey badger and the serval illustrate two very different solutions to the same fundamental challenge: finding food in a landscape where prey is small, hidden, and constantly alert. The serval, Leptolurus serval, is one of Africa's most specialized small prey hunters. Adults typically weigh between 9 and 18 kilograms, placing them in roughly the same weight range as a honey badger, yet their bodies are built for an entirely different purpose. Long legs elevate the serval above dense grasses, allowing it to scan and listen over vegetation that would conceal prey from most predators of similar size. But the serval's most remarkable feature is its hearing. Research on serval auditory sensitivity has shown that these cats can detect extremely faint sounds produced by rodents moving beneath soil or thick grass. Their large, mobile ears rotate independently, triangulating the location of prey with remarkable precision. Once a sound is pinpointed, the serval launches a rapid vertical leap, sometimes more than 2 meters high, before striking down with both forepaws. This downward strike is highly controlled. High-speed observations of serval hunts show that the cat adjusts its paw placement in midair, correcting its landing point based on last-second movements from prey beneath the surface. The result is an unusually high hunting success rate for a solitary carnivore. Most of the serval's diet consists of small mammals, particularly rodents such as vlay rats and multimammate mice. In wetland habitats, frogs and birds are also common prey. Unlike larger cats that rely on stamina or ambush, the serval hunts in short, explosive bursts throughout the day and night. But even an efficient hunter cannot ignore the demands of motherhood. When serval kittens are born, their mother must dramatically increase her hunting effort. A growing litter can require several small prey items every day. Because the kittens remain hidden inside dens during the early weeks, the female must repeatedly leave them unattended while she searches for food. During these absences, the safety of the den becomes critically important. Serval mothers rely on concealment more than defense. Their strategy is to keep the location of the den secret, selecting places where the entrance is hidden beneath thick vegetation or within abandoned burrows. These burrows often belong to aardvarks, large nocturnal diggers whose tunnels provide deep, stable chambers underground. Yet these same tunnels attract other animals. Across southern and eastern Africa, honey badgers frequently investigate aardvark burrows while searching for rodents, reptiles, or insect nests. Their powerful claws allow them to enlarge existing tunnels rapidly, and their keen sense of smell can detect prey hidden several centimeters below the surface. For a honey badger moving through the grassland, a burrow represents opportunity. For a serval mother raising kittens inside one, it represents vulnerability. Ecological studies of predator interactions in African savannas show that medium-sized carnivores often compete indirectly rather than through direct conflict. Jackals may steal prey from smaller hunters. Caracals occasionally kill other small predators. Honey badgers raid nests and burrows that contain animals far larger than themselves. These interactions are rarely dramatic encounters. Most occur quickly, often without witnesses, and the outcome usually favors whichever animal has the advantage of surprise. But maternal defense can change the equation. Among solitary carnivores, mothers often display a level of aggression rarely seen under normal circumstances. The evolutionary logic is simple. Losing a litter means losing an entire reproductive season. Because servals typically produce only a few kittens at a time, each offspring represents a significant investment of energy and risk. Documented observations of serval mothers confronting threats show that they can become unusually bold when defending their young. While a serval would normally avoid larger carnivores, females with kittens have been observed charging animals that approach the den, attempting to drive them away through speed, vocalization, and sudden aggression. Yet this strategy carries danger. The serval's body is built for agility, not brute force. Its limbs are long and slender, designed for jumping and striking downward at prey. In a sustained fight with a heavily built carnivore, such as a honey badger, the serval faces a significant disadvantage in strength and durability. The honey badger, by contrast, is designed almost entirely for confrontation. Its thick skin resists bites and claws. Its jaws are strong enough to crush bone, and its temperament, shaped by a life spent digging into defended burrows and confronting venomous snakes, makes it unusually persistent once it commits to an attack. Most of the time, these two animals avoid each other. But when a honey badger follows the scent of prey toward a burrow, and that burrow contains serval kittens, avoidance is no longer possible. In the quiet arithmetic of survival on the African savanna, few strategies are as persistent as the honey badger's approach to food. Unlike predators that rely on stealth or speed, the honey badger advances through the landscape with a method that is almost mechanical. It moves slowly, nose sweeping the ground, pausing often to test scents carried in the dry air. Each step is guided not by sight, but by chemical signals invisible to the eye. To the badger, the earth is a map of hidden possibilities. Burrows beneath the soil, nests concealed under roots, insects sealed inside hardened mounds. When a scent trail strengthens, the response is immediate. Digging begins. In this sense, the honey badger is less a hunter of moving prey and more a specialist in extraction. Rodents that vanish underground, reptiles buried beneath loose soil, and eggs hidden inside chambers are all vulnerable to an animal capable of opening the earth itself. This strategy has allowed the species to thrive across a vast range of habitats, from the arid scrublands of the Kalahari to the wetter savannas farther east. But this same method brings a honey badger into environments shaped by other animals' lives. Burrows are rarely empty spaces in the ecosystem. An abandoned tunnel may shelter several species over time. First a digging mammal, then rodents, then reptiles or nesting birds. When the honey badger encounters such a structure, it cannot know immediately what lies inside. Its instinct is simply to investigate. For the serval mother, this moment presents a difficult calculation. Her body is built for speed, capable of sudden leaps and rapid turns that allow her to evade larger predators. But inside the burrow lie animals that cannot run. If she retreats immediately, the honey badger may dig, and digging is precisely what the badger is built to do. Another dimension of this encounter lies in the instincts that shape parental defense among solitary carnivores. Unlike social predators that rely on group protection, animals such as the serval raise their young alone. There is no shared vigilance, no collective response if danger approaches a den. The survival of the litter depends entirely on the mother's awareness and the secrecy of the hiding place. For most of the year, the serval avoids unnecessary risk. Its slender frame and relatively light bone structure make prolonged fights costly. Even a minor injury can threaten the ability to hunt, and without hunting, survival becomes impossible. Yet behavioral studies across several African ecosystems show that mothers with dependent young often behave in ways that appear unusually bold compared to non-breeding individuals. This is not recklessness, but a shift in priorities driven by evolutionary pressure. A lost litter represents the loss of months of energy invested in pregnancy and nursing. Under these conditions, the mother's tolerance for danger can rise dramatically. In contrast, the honey badger approaches the world through a different evolutionary lens. It is not protecting offspring in this moment, nor defending a territory of young. Instead, it is following a scent that suggests food. Honey badgers typically raise their young in concealed dens as well, but they do so at different times and places. The individual crossing the grass now is focused on opportunity rather than defense. Its sensory system filters the environment through smell above all else. Studies examining honey badger foraging behavior reveal that scent trails leading to underground chambers trigger persistent digging responses. Even when prey attempts to escape deeper into the soil, the badger will continue excavating until the chamber collapses or the animal is reached. This persistence is one of the species' defining traits. It allows the badger to exploit prey hidden beyond the reach of most predators. These two instincts, maternal defense and relentless foraging, create the possibility of conflict. From a physical perspective, the animals are not dramatically different in size. An adult serval may weigh slightly more than a honey badger, and its limbs allow greater reach and agility. But the structure of their bodies reflects very different functions. The serval's long legs act as spring-loaded levers for jumping and striking downward. Its claws are sharp but relatively narrow, adapted for grasping small prey rather than tearing into thick hide. The honey badger, on the other hand, carries its strength low in the body. Its forelimbs are broad and heavily muscled, built to break open hard ground and resist counterattacks from animals inside burrows. Its bite force relative to body size is substantial for a mustelid. Yet physical strength alone rarely determines outcomes in wildlife encounters. Timing and positioning are often more decisive. A serval that intercepts a threat before digging begins may be able to drive it away through sudden aggression. Rapid slashing strikes on the forepaws, accompanied by loud hissing and lunging movements, can convince an approaching animal that the burrow is not worth the risk. Predators frequently abandon opportunities when the cost of injury becomes uncertain. But if the honey badger commits to the burrow, if digging begins, then the situation changes rapidly. Soil flies, the entrance widens, and the scent of whatever lies inside grows stronger. For the serval mother, every second becomes critical. The distance between instinct and action disappears. What follows is no longer negotiation within the ecosystem. It becomes a moment where two survival strategies collide. The honey badger reaches the edge of the termite mound slowly, its nose close to ground, shoulders rolling with each deliberate step. The wind shifts slightly across the savanna, carrying a mixture of dry grass, soil, and something else. Something warmer, richer with the scent of life beneath the surface. It pauses. For several seconds the animal remains completely still, head lowered, nostrils working rapidly. Beneath the pale soil of the mound lies the entrance to an abandoned aardvark burrow. The tunnel dips downward before opening into a chamber carved months earlier by powerful claws. Time has softened the edges of the soil, but the structure remains stable, hidden beneath a curtain of dry grass. Inside that chamber, the serval kittens shift faintly. Their bodies are still small, covered in soft spotted fur that blends almost perfectly with the dappled light filtering through the grass above. Their ears twitch at distant sounds, but their eyes are only beginning to understand the world beyond darkness. For now, their survival depends entirely on the silence of the burrow and the vigilance of their mother. The honey badger steps closer. It circles the mound once, nose brushing the ground. The scent is unmistakable now. Something alive has been here recently. Something warm, something mammalian. The animal's claws scrape lightly against the soil as it tests the entrance. A few meters away, half concealed in the tall grass, the serval mother watches. Her body is stretched low against the earth, every muscle held in controlled tension. The tall grass hides most of her slender form, but her ears remain raised, rotating constantly. For several minutes, she has followed the badger's approach, listening to the subtle disturbance of grass stems and soil beneath its paws. The moment she feared has arrived. The honey badger lowers its head and begins to dig. The first strokes are slow and exploratory. Claws hook into the soil and pull backward, scattering loose dirt across the mound. Each movement is precise and powerful, sending small clouds of dust into the dry air. Within seconds, the entrance widens. The serval's ears flatten slightly. She rises from the grass with a sudden, fluid motion. In 2 silent leaps, she closes the distance, her long legs carrying her forward in a swift arc of motion. The honey badger senses the movement almost instantly. It lifts its head just as the serval lands several steps away, her body tall, back slightly arched. The savanna's quiet breaks. A sharp hiss cuts through the air. The serval's forepaw lashes forward, claws extended in a fast, warning strike that stops just short of the badger's face. Dust scatters between them. The message is clear, not an attack yet, but a boundary. The honey badger does not retreat. It pivots slowly, thick neck turning, small eyes fixed on the taller animal before it. For a moment, the 2 predators study each other at close range, each calculating the other's intentions. The serval advances half a step, shoulders rising higher now, her spotted coat rippling with tension. Another hiss erupts from her throat, deeper this time, accompanied by a rapid swiping motion of her forepaw. The badger lunges, not forward, but sideways, an abrupt twisting movement that brings its powerful forelimbs between itself and the serval's strike. The serval's claws rake across the thick skin of the badger's shoulder, but the blow glances off the tough hide. The distance between them collapses into sudden chaos. The serval springs backward instantly, landing lightly several feet away, her body already preparing for another strike. The honey badger spins to face her again, jaws open now, a low growl vibrating through its chest. Neither animal flees. Behind the serval, the burrow entrance remains exposed, and beneath the soil, the kittens wait. The air between them tightens into a narrow circle of dust and tension. The serval does not attempt to grapple. Her strategy remains built on speed. She shifts sideways through the grass, forcing the honey badger to turn repeatedly, keeping its attention fixed on her and away from the burrow entrance. Each movement is quick and measured. Advance, strike, withdraw. Her forepaw lashes forward again. This time the claws make contact along the badger's muzzle, a rapid slash followed by an immediate leap backward. The serval lands lightly, long legs absorbing the impact as she pivots in a half circle. The maneuver is designed to provoke, not overpower. The honey badger answers with persistence. Instead of pursuing her across the grass, it wheels back toward the burrow. Soil flies again as the claws dig into the entrance, widening the tunnel with startling speed. The badger's shoulders pump like pistons, sending loose earth behind it in rapid bursts. For the serval, the moment becomes urgent. She lunges forward, striking repeatedly now, short, rapid blows aimed at the badger's face and forelimbs. Each swipe lands and withdraws almost instantly. The serval avoids staying close, careful not to allow the badger's jaws to reach her legs. But the digging continues. Honey badgers are built for exactly this kind of task. Their forelimbs possess enormous leverage, and the curved claws hook deep into packed soil. Within seconds, the entrance tunnel deepens, and the scent rising from the chamber below grows stronger. Inside the burrow, the kittens shift again, disturbed by the vibrations of collapsing earth. The serval changes tactics. Rather than striking and retreating, she launches forward with a full-body leap, landing beside the badger and delivering a rapid series of blows aimed at the head. One claw catches the edge of the badger's ear. Another rakes across the pale mantle of fur along its back. The honey badger reacts instantly. Its body twists with surprising flexibility, turning inside the loose skin of its shoulders. The jaws snap toward the serval's foreleg. For a fraction of a second, the 2 animals are within biting distance. The serval springs away just in time. She lands several meters back, chest rising quickly now, ears flattened against her skull. The badger holds its ground near the burrow entrance, teeth still exposed. Neither animal appears willing to abandon the encounter. The serval circles again, forcing the badger to pivot. She lunges once more, striking the badger's face and retreating before a counterattack can land. Each blow is calculated to increase pressure without committing to a prolonged fight. Gradually, the balance begins to shift. The honey badger pauses. Its head turns slightly, following the serval's movements through the grass. The repeated strikes have not caused serious injury, but they introduce a growing uncertainty. Every attempt to dig is interrupted. Every movement toward the burrow brings another sudden attack. For a solitary predator, the possibility of injury carries serious consequences. A damaged limb or infected wound could make hunting impossible for weeks. The serval senses a hesitation. She advances again, taller now, back arched, delivering another sharp swipe across the badger's snout. Dust rises around them as the badger steps backward for the first time since the encounter began. Another step follows. The serval presses forward immediately, forcing the badger farther from the mound with two more rapid strikes. Finally, the honey badger turns, not in panic, but in slow withdrawal. It moves away from the burrow with the same deliberate gait that brought it here, pausing once to look back at the serval standing over the disturbed soil. After a few moments, it continues across the grass, disappearing gradually into the pale waves of the savanna. The serval remains beside the burrow entrance. Her body stays rigid for several minutes, ears still scanning the surrounding grass for any returning movement. Only when the savanna settles back into quiet does she lower her head and listen to the faint sounds beneath the earth. The kittens are still alive. The danger for now has passed. The savanna slowly returns to its ordinary rhythm. Wind moves through the grass again, lifting small clouds of dust from the disturbed soil around the burrow entrance. The brief conflict leaves only scattered claw marks, loose earth, and the faint scent of two predators that cross paths for a few tense minutes. The serval remains beside the mound. Her body gradually lowers from its rigid defensive posture, but the tension has not fully left her muscles. Encounters like this do not end the moment an opponent walks away. For a mother raising young, vigilance continues long after the immediate threat disappears. She listens, her ears rotate independently, scanning the surrounding grasslands for the subtle sounds that often reveal danger before it becomes visible. A rustle from a lizard moving across dry leaves, the distant flutter of birds shifting branches. Farther away, the faint bark of a jackal traveling along the edge of the savanna. None of it demands action. Finally, the serval leans toward the burrow entrance. The soil has been partially collapsed by the honey badger's digging, but the tunnel itself remains intact. She lowers her head and releases a soft, low call, a quiet vocalization used by serval mothers to communicate with hidden kittens. From beneath the earth comes a faint response. The kittens stir inside the chamber, their small bodies reacting to familiar sound. Though their world is still limited to darkness and the warmth of the den, the vibrations of digging and the sounds of the confrontation above have already introduced them to the unpredictable nature of the environment they were born into. The serval begins repairing the entrance. Using her forepaws, she pulls loose soil back toward the opening, reshaping the mound just enough to narrow the exposed tunnel. Unlike the honey badger's forceful digging, her movements are delicate and controlled. The goal is concealment rather than excavation. Within minutes, the burrow looks less obvious again, but the encounter has altered something important. Predators that discover a potential food source often remember its location. Honey badgers, guided heavily by scent and memory, sometimes revisit areas where prey was previously detected. The disturbed soil and lingering scent around the burrow could attract attention again in the coming hours. The serval understands this risk instinctively. Studies of serval maternal behavior have shown that females frequently relocate their kittens shortly after disturbances near the den. The process is laborious and exposes the kittens briefly to the open landscape, yet the danger remaining in a compromised location can be even greater.